Hello, viewers. You're welcome to Beyond the Headlines. The newly elected President Donald Trump of the United States has not ceased to spark controversy over his radical stance on LGBTQ. Reverend Father Kelvin Ugwu, a popular Catholic priest and social media influencer, has lambasted a U.S. bishop for asking Trump to have mercy on the practitioners of LGBTQ. It is instructive that Trump's presidency has been bad news for the gay people. He said he would support them, but his actions have not matched his words.
I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens from the violence and oppression of a hateful foreign ideology. Believe me.
Trump's administration has made it harder for transgender people to serve in the military and has taken away protections for transgender students. He has also made it harder for these people to get the health care they need.
We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools. And we will keep men out of women's sports. I will defend religious liberty, I will restore free speech, and I will defend the right to keep and bear arms. Our Second Amendment is under siege. Left-wing gender insanity being pushed on our children is an act of child abuse. Very simple. Here's my plan to stop the chemical, physical, and emotional mutilation of our youth. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. Can you believe this? I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. I will then ask Congress to permanently stop federal taxpayer dollars from being used to promote or pay for these procedures and pass a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states. It'll go very quickly. I will declare that any hospital or healthcare provider that participates in the chemical or physical mutilation of minor youth will no longer meet federal health and safety standards for Medicaid and Medicare, and will be terminated from the program immediately. Furthermore, I will support the creation of a private right of action for victims to sue doctors who have unforgivably performed these procedures on minor children. The Department of Justice will investigate Big Pharma and the big hospital networks to determine whether they have deliberately covered up horrific long-term side effects of sex transitions in order to get rich at the expense of vulnerable patients, in this case, very vulnerable. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Trump's policies have hurt LGBTQ practitioners, especially young people. Many have felt scared, sad, and alone because of these actions. In this connection, some activists have felt the need to keep fighting for the rights and dignity of all people, no matter who they love or how they choose to identify with whatever thing they want to identify with. To them, everyone deserves to be treated with respect and kindness. One of these advocates of gay rights is Bishop Marian Bode, an Episcopal prelate who has served as Bishop of Washington since 2011. At a national prayer service at Washington's National Cathedral, attended by President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance, the bishop pleaded with the new president to have mercy on those affected by his policies. While her message wasn't directly focused on gay rights, it spoke to the broader need for compassion and empathy in governance, which certainly includes supporting the LGBTQ community. Now, let me allow you to have a look at the clip.
Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we were all once strangers in this land. May God grant us the strength and courage to honor the dignity of every human being, to speak the truth to one another in love, and walk humbly with each other and our God for the good of all people in this nation and the world. Amen.
Very sad indeed. In a text he posted on his Facebook page, Father Kelvin Ugwu attacked the bishop, accusing her of using well-crafted fallacy and tactic in a bid to sway Trump's mind and subsequently spur him into shifting away from his radical policies or stance on LGBTQ. Now, to quote Father Kelvin Ugwu, you know the problem with this preaching? I will tell you. 1, it falls under the fallacy called argumentum ad misericordiam, which is Latin for argument from pity or misery. It is a deceptive and tactical way of using emotions or provoking feelings of guilt to sway the opinion of the people you are talking to. Usually, you begin by letting the person or people feel special. Then you share a very sad story that will make that special person feel like a wicked person if he did not do something about it. The problem with this argument is that there is no logical reason provided. In fact, the argument seeks to make you ignore logic. This is why she started by reminding Trump how God has been good to him. Then she went on to paint a sad story that ended with asking Trump to have mercy. 2, according to her, there are gay, lesbian, and transgender children. This statement from the bishop contradicts the biblical foundation from which she is arguing. In fact, even the very fact that she is a woman and a bishop is a contradiction to the Bible. But that is a talk of another day. The problem of the modern church, and this also includes the Catholics, is that when the issue of LGBTQ comes up, we tend to try to play around with it. Our inability to call a spade is the greatest undoing of the modern church. And who are the transgender children or gay children? How did they get to that point? What is wrong with preaching to them to repenting instead of preaching to Trump or to society to applaud them or pity them? Who are the illegal immigrants who work in our poultry farms or wash the dishes after we eat at the restaurant? What is wrong with asking them to do the right thing by getting proper documentation instead of asking Trump to pity them? Is it a good thing that they keep bearing the name illegal? That's by the way. End of quote. You're watching the Diaspora Digital Media. If you like this video, do not hesitate to hit the like button, make your comments, share my videos, and then subscribe to our YouTube channel for more exciting stories. I am Tochukwu Raphael. See you next time.